And step 3 is to systematize your practice. The more your practice is systematized, the more valuable it is to a buyer. So what systems need to be in place? There's actually quite a few systems that you want to make sure that you have in place when you go to sell your practice. So I'm going to walk through each of these systems. So the first one is the financial and accounting systems, right? You want to have clean and organized financials. You want to maintain at least 3 to 5 years of profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and tax returns, right? So anyone that's going to be coming in and buying your practice, they're going to need to see all of that information. So you have to have really good, clean records when it comes to your financials. You want to show consistent revenue and profitability trends, right? You want to see that your practice is growing and not dying. That's going to help you get a better price for it. You want to use like QuickBooks or another accounting software so you have accurate records. You also want to have defined billing and collection processes, right? This is if you're billing insurance in any way, you got to make sure you got to show that that's happening efficiently, that you're getting good reimbursements, those types of things. But even if you're using cash-based payment systems, you want to make sure that you have, a strong account receivable process in place. That there's not any, you're not chasing down patient payments for months at a time, or you don't have a bunch of people in collections and all that kind of stuff. And the best way to do this is just to have automatic payments set up. If you have, automatic monthly payments, those types of things is going to always be the best when it comes to that collection process for patient income. Some other financial and accounting systems to make sure you have in place is to have a clear expense and overhead management, right? You want to make sure that you're documenting all your overhead, that you can say, hey, this is what my overhead number is. Keep that overhead as low as you can, but sustainable. And you might be able to show where there's some cost cutting that the new owner could do to even increase profitability. And as we mentioned earlier, it's important to have a recurring revenue model, right? Instead of one-time patient visits, long-term care plans, memberships, wellness programs is always going to lead to a higher resale value. Buyers prefer businesses with predictable recurring income. Along with those systems, you also want to make sure you have patient retention and marketing systems in place, right? So showing that you have a strong active patient base, documenting all of your patient statistics, right? You want to be able to show a buyer, what your patients, how many patients you've been seeing per month, how many new patients you've been seeing per month, what's your PVA, then you show retention rates and all these kinds of things. You want to be able to show that you have a stable flow of new patients, right? 20 to 30 new patients per month is ideal. If you can show that, year after year, that's ideal situation. You also want to have automated and repeatable marketing strategies in place. This is obviously what a lot of people know us for, is to help doctors to build these automated and repeatable marketing strategies. We've had several doctors over the years now that have sold their practices to a new doctor, and that new doctor, one of the reasons why they bought the practice is because they were already working with us and we had those automated and repeatable marketing strategies in place, and they were able to transition from the previous owner to the new owner and keep that same flow of new patients coming in. That's extremely beneficial. And many doctors that have bought practices from our clients have been able to work with us on even increasing their new patients just by doing more of what we were already doing when the new owner comes in. And so it starts with, some of these automated repeatable marketing strategies starts with like an SEO optimized website, strong Google My Business presence, social media, email campaigns, these types of things that drive leads, and also making sure that you have things like referral programs in place, and that you're getting consistent referrals is also something else to show that makes the practice more beneficial or more valuable. You want to have that that branding and patient engagement consistent. Other ways that other systems for generating new patients, if you can show that, from whether it's digital ads or community outreach or workshops or screenings, health practitioner referral networks from MDs, PTs, or other practitioners that refer patients to you. All these types of things. The more streams of new patients that are coming into your practice, the more beneficial and more profitable it is to sell that practice to someone else. In addition, you want to have operational and administrative systems in place, right? A documented SOPs, having those documented SOPs, standard operating procedures with clear step-by-step guides for daily operations, office management, patient intake, billing, compliance procedures, all this kind of stuff. Having all that in place in a, in employee handbook, in an SOP guide, that type of thing, a master list. That's really important to be able to show a potential buyer. You also want to have staff training and accountability systems in place, right? If you have a competent team that can run the office without you present, that's definitely something that is beneficial to a buyer to see. You want to have, as we mentioned earlier, making sure you have an associate doctor, a well-trained CA to make the transition smoother. Having things in place for your team, right? With position agreements and job scorecards, so that the team is held accountable to results. And having HIPAA and compliance systems in place as well, making sure all patient records, privacy policies meet legal standards. You have an EHR system in place. All this kind of stuff is really important, again, just to show that you have a systematized practice. The fourth system that should be in place is practice independence from the owner, right? If you can reduce dependence on the owner, the less the practice relies on the personal brand of the doctor and the relationships. Again, this is why it's so important to not have a solo practice when you're going to sell the practice. Delegating responsibilities so that a new owner can step in without losing patients is obviously a key system that needs to be in place. And having that transition plan, we mentioned that earlier, having a smooth transition plan or period of 3 to 6 months, usually, where you introduce a new doctor is really important before leaving. And then the last system group that should be in place is legal and exit strategy systems, right? So this is a clear ownership and business structure, having clear, like lease agreements and contracts and vendor relationships that are transferable. If you're renting, you want to negotiate an assignable lease to the new buyer. You want to have defined sale terms and evaluation strategy. Get a formal valuation from a practice broker at some point. Decide if you're, offering seller financing or an earn-out option. These are different options that you can do when actually getting the money from the person. And as we mentioned earlier, just making sure that your estate and tax planning is dialed in. You want to work with a CPA, estate attorney, minimize capital gains tax, consider an installment sale to reduce the tax burden. That may be a good way to do it, where you get money over several years.